Coronavirus pandemic on the country's finances was laid bare today. As official figures show, the economy saw its biggest drop since extreme weather wrecked economic activity 300 years ago. The Office for National Statistics said that in 2020, the total value of goods and services produced in the UK, known as GDP, fell by 9.9%. There was growth of 1% in the last 3 months of the year, which means the UK isn't technically now in recession. But with lockdown expected to stay in place until early spring, experts say the hit to the economy will continue at least until the effects of the vaccination programme kick in. Here's our economics editor, Faisal Islam.
Cupid's arrows being felt rather less than normal at what should be a bumper time for florists such as Susan in Stevenage. It caps the toughest of years.
I'm not even going to do Valentine's Day. I can't pre-order hundreds of roses and then not sell. It's been a really hard year. I've just had to sit and watch my weddings one by one postponed to the following year. What am I going to do if I can't do this? And if my weddings keep postponing, if they start cancelling, I don't think I'll be here 2022.
Susan's just one of the stories that made 2020 the wrong sort of economic history, even compared to other large shocks, depressions and wars. Last year, the worst on record, in fact, in over 3 centuries.
What's clear is right now, many families and businesses are experiencing hardship. That's why we've put in place a comprehensive plan for jobs to support people through this crisis, and we will set out the next stage of our economic response at our budget in early March.
The pandemic and the shutdowns did hit a UK economy dependent on services more than other nations.
We've had the worst death toll of any European country, but we've also had that worst economic crisis of any major economy as well. We really need public spending to be directed into the right places, not have this level of waste and mismanagement of public funds.
This afternoon, the Chancellor chaired a meeting of the biggest economy's finance ministers, the G7. Different ways of measuring health and education explain some of the UK underperformance here. So the numbers for 2020 as a whole, understandably stark, but that's history now. What matters is what's happening in the economy right now. And you can build a picture with alternative statistics on road traffic, for example, down 47% for cars on the same period last year. Online job adverts, they're down around a fifth. Number of people on the high street, the footfall, well, that's down 2/3 across the United Kingdom, with London, the East Midlands and Scotland the hardest hit. But not all of that spending has gone. The Bank of England's internal credit card and debit card data show a fall of 24% in sales, with much shifting online. On the high street here in Stevenage, Brian's record shop has tried to shift online with help from government support and an understanding landlord. How much longer can you put up with this?
We're 60% down on our overall revenue for the shop. I mean, at least for us, we don't have to throw away our stock. You know, people will come back and that stuff will have the same value. So I think in retail terms, we're better off than pubs and restaurants. I think the pubs and restaurants in the Old Town have been badly hit.
The vaccine rollout and eventual lifting of restrictions should lead to an economic bounce back from the 2020 pain. 2021 could yet be a rather better sounding record.
Well, Faisal is with me now. Just on that point, Faisal, is the picture likely to get any rosier this year?
Well, a fall of this historic magnitude is always going to have implications for years to come, but it is also history. It reflects what happened last year in 2020. It reflects what viewers will have seen in their high streets and in their offices during the peak of the lockdown. But I think going forward, it clearly depends on 2 balancing acts for the government. The balancing act over lifting restrictions, and we expect the Prime Minister to make an announcement on that in the final week of February on the road out of the restrictions, and it may take weeks or months in a phased way. And then the week after that, at the budget in early March, the Chancellor will have the balancing act of how much support to offer to the economy for jobs and also for business cash flow, how to keep that going, but also balancing that with what he told me was the need to be open and honest with the public about some of the measures required to rein in the record level of borrowing, so that will mean in the immediate year that support will continue, that there'll be money put into the economy, but going on from that in years to come, some forms of tax rise, perhaps green taxes, online taxes, freezing of the income tax thresholds. But the hope is, if they can get this sequence right, that you could see quite a rapid recovery in the second half of 2021.
Faisal, thank you. Our economic